Hello, welcome to another biking video on doing stuff and filming it. Today I'm going to be talking about licenses, and what I have to say may surprise you. Right, this is the short version of this video. I decided to do two. I recorded the first one the first time and it was over an hour long before I got halfway through it. And then I started it again and then I just hated it and started again. And then I recorded it a third time and I was sort of happy with it, but it was still pushing like 45 minutes in length. So I thought I'd just do a shorter version because I know not everyone has the attention span to watch the other version. The other one, I go into a lot more detail into my thought process and everything, but I thought I'd just do a much shorter version of this video, just explaining what I would change about motorbike licenses, because it comes down to three things, really. Now, by all means, leave your opinions in the comments. I'm well aware that my opinion on motorbike licenses is a fair bit removed from the general consensus, and everyone has their own view. This is just what I would do given the opportunity. Let's say I was a government minister or something like that. This is what I would change with motorbike licenses. Spoiler alert, if anything, I would make them a bit more complicated. Most people seem to want them to be simpler, and I agree they are quite complex, some motorbike licenses, but I think I'd make them more complicated. They would make more sense, but I think I would make them complicated. In fact, the whole licensing system would probably end up more complicated under me, but here we go. This is what I would say. Now, starting off, CBTs. That is for everybody their first foray into being a motorcyclist. It just is. It has to be. Now, with those, I would do two things. Option one, let's say it's a 16 or 17 year old, never been on the road before, especially when they're 16. They have had no reason up to that point to be in charge of a vehicle. No reason to pay any attention to the rules of the road or behaviour of other drivers. I would make the CBT a minimum 2 days. And the reason being is, on modern roads, as busy as they are, as impatient as they are, with the number of subpar drivers out there, as well as impatient Audi drivers that think they own the road and they're, God's gift to driving, 1 day isn't enough. And I did my CBT in winter, and my instructor was very keen for us to get back and get it done before it got dark. She really did not want us out at night, and I can understand the reasons for that, although CBT doesn't restrict you to daylight hours, but whatever. So it was more like half a day's training. So, yeah, that's just not enough when you've got no other experience on the road. Minimum 2 days training. First day, classroom work and pad work, and then the next day you want a whole day out on the road, with an instructor in your ear, just going through situation after situation, junctions, roundabouts, different types of road. The CBT, even on a moped, you can go out on A roads, on 60 and 70 mile an hour roads. You've got to be prepared for that, and I just don't think a few hours worth of training is enough when you have no other experience on the road whatsoever. If anything, it might even need to be 3 days, but what I'd probably do is make it a minimum number of hours that have to be done before you pass. So in winter it'd probably take you 3 days, whereas in summer you could probably knock it out in 2. But that's what I would do. However, if you already hold another full license, say a car license, I don't see why your CBT needs to be 2 days. It could be 1 day, and you can skip the classroom work at least. Like, when I did my CBT, I'd already been driving for 18 years. Why the hell do I need to be taught how roundabouts work? And it's the same, even if you're 17, you will have already done all of that. If you have a car license, you don't need to sit in a classroom and go over junctions and giving way to the right. It's utterly pointless. You could just get straight on the bike. Still do the pad work. I still think there's value in doing the off-road training before you go out on the road. Some people just don't like it. and they abandon their CBT before going out on the road. That's fine, it's not for everyone. But you can skip the classroom work and do it in one day if you already own another full licence of some sort. That's what I would do. And the same if you're renewing a CBT. Your first ever CBT, 2 days, for example, and then say you come back and you've got to renew it again after 2 years. You could just do the 1 day course. If it's run out, if it's 2 years and 1 day, tough shit. You've got to do the 2 day, and it'll obviously cost more to do it, but that's your fault, really. But renewing them could be done in 1 day. So only your first ever CBT, if you don't have any other licence, will be 2 days. Next up, theory tests. Now, this only applies if you're going for one of the full licenses. In particular, that's going to be A1, but mainly A2 and A licenses. Doesn't apply to AM necessarily unless you're doing one of those when you're 17, but I don't know why you would, because at that point you can just do an A1 license. But anyway, theory tests. If you already have a full license, the theory test is pointless. It really is. I had to do one for my Cat A licence, and it was exactly the same test as I did when I got my car licence 18 years before it. It just was. It's that test where there's video, you're going along the road, and you have to click when you see a hazard. And when I booked it, I had to tell them that I was doing a motorbike licence, but the test was no different. And when I got up to leave after doing the test, I looked around, and everyone's doing the exact same test. I just felt that after so long on the road, I'm pretty good at hazard perception. So why do I need to do a hazard perception test on a computer? I'm already perfectly good at it out on the road. Yeah, especially since it's not a different test. Now, you could say, alright, if you've had your car licence, if you've got a full car licence, you don't need to do a theory test for your bike licence. Or you could say you've got to have held it for 1 year, or 5 years. Either one would be kind of acceptable, but yeah, once you've done one theory test and got a full licence after, doing another theory test is pointless. It just is. Yeah, you're just giving more money to the government, which is good for the government, but it's not really good for the people, and government should be afraid of their people, not the other way around.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
Third thing I would do is change the age limits. Now, 16-year-olds should still be limited to 50cc mopeds. They just should, because a 16-year-old does not need anything bigger than that, and can't be trusted with anything bigger than that. This tends to rile a lot of people up. I'm going to say it anyway. Bikes are dangerous, and teenagers are idiots. It's a fact of life. Yep, 50cc for 16-year-olds, 125 for 17-year-olds. There's a nice progression to that. But A2, I would make available at 18. And the reason being is, A2, whilst it is a restricted licence still, I think it's 35 kilowatts, you can get a more powerful bike and then restrict it down. It can't be more than 50%, whatever, look it up. But you can still get some reasonably quick bikes on an A2. I wouldn't consider an A2 licence and an A2 bike really all that restrictive to your life. But at 18, it's a big moment in your life. I'd say it's probably the most important time of your life. You think about it, you've finished school, you've finished compulsory education. A lot of people go off to university at that point, so they're moving out of home, maybe moving to the other side of the country. They may be going into full-time work. They've got all these options, but for everyone it's a time of big change, and the need and the will to travel at that point goes up massively as well. And I think keeping people restricted to 125s, it's just not fair at that point. You're just treating them like a child. By that point, they can have a full car licence, but let's say they want to do it on a motorbike. Why are you holding them back? You're still treating them like children. And being 18 will be used against you at every fucking opportunity. How many times have all 18-year-olds heard, "Oh, you're 18 now, you should know better"? right? But then they're not allowed to, move past their learner motorbike. You can't have it fucking both ways, government, can you? So yeah, I would make A2s available at 18. I just would. Cat A's, at the moment it's 24 if you want to do direct access, or 21 if you do the progressive access from A2. It's 21, however, because you need a minimum 2 years on the licence before, which is the same if you're going from A1 to A2 or AM to A1. But I would make it 21 for everyone. Just because it seems fair. I mean, the idea of an 18-year-old being able to get hold of a Fireblade, it just sounds mad. It's like, no. It's like an 18-year-old passing their driving test and being able to get in a Ferrari. It's like, no, don't do that. But I think making them wait till they're 24, it's like, no, knock it off. I mean, at 21, you can adopt children, but you're not allowed to ride a motorbike. It just seems a bit daft to me. It really does. And also, you think about it, most people's lives, by the time they're 24, they'll have finished university, if they went. If not, they're going to be a good few years into a career, likely to be in a serious relationship at that point. Maybe not, again, but quite possibly. Maybe looking at marriage, maybe even children, maybe a bit early for those two things, but still, all of those things can be happening. And I think to be still treated like, you can't be trusted with a full-size motorbike at 24, but all these other things, it just feels wrong to me. And also, a lot of people are concerned about the ageing population of motorcyclists, and that is a bit of a concern. Getting young people into biking is a bit of an issue, and licenses being as complex as they are has been cited as one of the potential issues, but I'm not sure if I fully agree with that. I think making everything available to you at 21, that stage in your life, is a good time to be going out on a big bike, to have access to them. At that stage, you're still young, you may have just left university, you're looking at more serious things in life, but I think 21's a perfectly reasonable age. Some people will say you should be able to get a full Cat A at 18. And I can see the reasoning behind that. Yeah, you are an adult, you should be allowed to go out and do what you like, but you can't do everything in life at 18. There is still some stuff you have to wait till 21 for, and I think bikes should be it. 18 for an A2 is perfectly fine, but I'd keep the 2-year restriction. If you put in the effort and get your A2 when you're 18, if you want to go for Cat A at 20, then fine. There has to be some reward to putting the effort in. So that's the 3 main things I would do. I would keep the 2 tests, Mod 1 and Mod 2. I do think there's value in those, in demonstrating that you have the skills to be safe in a controlled environment before you go out on the road. But I would transfer that over into cars as well. I think there should be an off-road element to car tests. I think there should be a Mod 1 and Mod 2 for cars. You should have to demonstrate basic skills in a controlled environment before you're allowed out on the main road. I think car and bike tests should be the same. Well, in that sense that there's 2 tests, obviously they can't be the same in a lot of other ways. I just think that's how it should be. And I think at 18 your car licence should be restricted to certain power levels and sizes of vehicle. I think it should be 21 before you're allowed to drive anything you fucking well please. I mean, how many examples are there out there of, rich kids getting hold of stupidly powerful cars because they can afford to buy them and insure them, and then going out and doing stupid shit, or YouTubers with basically unlimited cash crashing McLarens and then filming their seriously injured mates. Wouldn't fucking happen if they were on a restricted licence until they were 21 and just that bit older and a bit more mature before they start doing that sort of shit. So yeah, that is what I would do. CBT's, your first one, harder and more intense.
Giggity, giggity, giggity.
Theory tests can be scrapped. If once you've done one, you don't need to do them again. They're pointless. Once you've got a full license under your belt, theory test is relevant. And I'd lower the age restrictions for getting into bikes, but not fully scrap them. That's what I think. That's what I would do, given the power. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm well aware that some people are going to be frothing at the mouth. Keep it respectful. If you're going to start going off on one, I'm just going to delete you. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you think you should be able to get on a Fireblade age 17, same as you can drive a Ferrari at 17, fine, let me know. Interesting to know your reasoning behind that. Or if you think it should be even harder to get into motorbikes. You know, I've heard some people say that you should be like 30 before you can get a full Cat A license. Yeah, let me know your reasoning behind that. Don't just say, this is what I think. Explain your thought process behind it. Anyway, that's it. Next month, I'm hoping to have the Lifehand back on the road, and that should be a good video. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching this video on doing stuff and filming it. Please don't forget to press the big button here in the middle to subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you liked what you just saw, please click the like button below and leave a comment letting me know what you liked about it. And as always, thank you for watching.